The NCAA Women's bracket was finalized yesterday on Selection Sunday, and Portland has the opportunity to host some of the biggest and brightest stars in women's college basketball in the country. Portland will play host to the Sweet 16 in the Elite Eight, and as the brackets are currently shaping out, your one seeds in the Portland divisions, in Portland 3 and Portland 4, are USC, that's Juju Watkins, the freshman of the year, and Texas. You have opportunities there to get some of the best players in the country in the building if things go according to plan.
Well, other than that, you got UConn that could have the potential of coming to Portland. Stanford and Cam Brink in her final basketball games as a collegiate
the very likely
athlete.
number 2 pick in this year's WNBA draft behind Caitlin Clark.
She is going to be, because she declared for the draft, in WNBA draft, they're the 2 seed out in I don't like the way they do it because they just call it Portland Regional 4.
Yeah, in Portland 4. Yep.
But they're in Regional 4. And they are the 2 seed out here. And then I don't know if, like women's basketball, it's not for everybody. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. The popularity of that game
is skyrocketing.
Is meteoric rise. And we're seeing it
just
continue
take a look at the TV notes.
To grow and grow and grow. The fact that the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 are coming to Portland, it also is like that training ground for, if you're a men's tournament fan, the fact that they have not hosted a regional final here in Portland, the success of the women's tournament, it could lead to the men's side coming here eventually as well.
2030, the women's Final Four.
Yeah,
here in Portland.
That's badass too. And when you look at the fact that they went from Sabrina Ionescu to Caitlin Clark, and then Juju Watkins appears to be the next in line to be the next big star. I think it's great that Portland, we not only have the regional finals for 2 sides of the bracket, but you also are getting UConn coming here with Paige Beckers, Gino Auriemma, one of the
bluest of blue bloods that there is.
Yeah, one of the greatest women's college basketball programs. And then you have Tara Vanderveer in Stanford too. And just Cam Brink aside,
the winningest coach in college basketball.
Cam Brink, who is Southridge and Mountainside High School star, and then down playing at Stanford, gets to wrap up her part of her career. They want to go to the Final Four.
Yeah, back home.
But back home too. It's really cool that we get those storylines. The thing that sucks though is that we thought that Oregon State might be in line to be in the Portland region. As it turned out, they get the 3 seed, and they're going to be having to go to Albany. And the Corvallis region is going to be a fun one. They open up with the Eastern Washington, and the fact that Eastern Washington is coming down as a Big Sky champ, I love that because we talked about how University of Portland, the surprise that they made in their run of the WCC tournament. By knocking off Gonzaga, they got rewarded with the 13 seed, and they have to go to Manhattan, Kansas. It's not quite the South. I was hoping that we might get, Swag does the South, but Swag does Manhattan. Kansas is a good runner-up.
A Manhattan in Manhattan?
Oh, he will have more than one Manhattans in Manhattan. But they get Kansas State in their regional. Oregon State, if they beat Eastern Washington, which we kind of all believe they will, they get the winner of the Trev Alberts Bowl.
A&M versus Nebraska?
Yeah, which you got the men's and the women's side, A&M versus Nebraska.
That's hilarious.
And if you are telling me that
they made that happen.
The selection committee did not think about that, like 100%. Trev Alberts leaves Nebraska, goes to Texas A&M, and both the men and women play each other in the opening round of the tournament,
the selection committee has a lot of ADs on it.
Let's go.
They made this happen.
And that's fantastic. But there's going to be good basketball played in the state of Oregon, whether it's a Corvallis regional with the Oregon State women playing Nebraska or Texas A&M in the round of 32, or the regional finals that will be here, Sweet 16 and Elite 8 of the women's side in Portland. I'm excited for it, man. It's good basketball, and it's good to have a good like something to look forward to on our sports calendar here locally. Because we don't get big events. And if they show out for the women's, and by all accounts, ticket sales immediately through the roof.
Bonkers. Aftermarket tickets
awesome.
I heard stories from folks that aftermarket tickets are upwards of $1,000.
We had the bracketology was telling us that we
Iowa
would be getting Iowa, we would be getting
USC,
we would be getting
made
Stanford.
the push to get a number 1 seed, and that threw kind of things for a bit of a loop. Yeah, because it was shaking out that USC would likely get the 2 seed in the bracket, and Iowa would get the 1 seed in this bracket.
In those regions as they were shaking out, like at one point when we looked at it, you had Iowa, Oregon State, Stanford, and UConn all here.
If you go by,
that'd have been cool.
If you go chalk, which the women's game tends to go a little bit more chalk because the dispersal of talent is not quite as universal yet. You in the Sweet 16 could be looking at Stanford, Tennessee.
Let's go.
2 of the best programs ever in women's college basketball here in Portland. Then you could be looking at Texas, Gonzaga, USC, Virginia Tech, which not quite the same level of matchup.
I'm indifferent.
But then you could be looking at UConn, Ohio State.
I'm here for it.
I mean, you've got 4 or 5 of the best programs in the country historically.
Yeah. March 29th through April 1st, we got the Sweet 16 Elite Eights for the women's tournament. Pretty cool.
That's pretty damn cool.
It's awesome.
So if you want to check that out, tickets are still available through all your various means and methods. If you're even thinking about it, go. You don't get this opportunity to see these kind of players that often. And I know people are like, oh, it's women's basketball. It's not my thing. It's totally fine. Whatever. I'm just telling you the level of talent that you will see here. Again, my bias withstanding, if you get a chance to go see Juju play basketball, she is going to take over women's college basketball like Caitlin Clark has. She is an absolute dynamic player. And if you're a basketball fan in general, you're going to want to go see him. So,